So, how does a company as massive as Amazon, we're talking the size of a small country here, still manage to innovate like a brand new, scrappy startup? The secret isn't some super complex algorithm or a billion-dollar research lab. Nope. It's actually a really simple two-word philosophy that's been their guide, their North Star, right from the very beginning.
Yeah, you see, in his shareholder letters, Jeff Bezos would always sign off with this one simple but incredibly powerful phrase. It remains day one. And believe me, this is way more than just some catchy corporate tagline. It's a constant, daily reminder to stay hungry, to stay curious, and to fight like hell against that natural pull towards getting comfortable and complacent.
Okay, so day one sounds cool, right? But what does it actually mean when the rubber hits the road? To really get what day one is all about, we first have to understand the thing it's designed to fight. We've got to diagnose the disease before we can talk about the cure. And that disease, the one Bezos is always warning about, is the ever-present danger of day two. So what is day two? Well, simply put, day two is stasis. It's when you become irrelevant. It's that slow, creeping decline that happens when a company just gets comfortable. It's when you stop inventing and you start just managing. And frankly, it's the fate that Jeff Bezos has been absolutely determined to avoid at all costs. I mean, the contrast here is just night and day, isn't it? On one hand, you've got day one. That's all about invention, energy, speed, and having that growth mindset. And on the other hand, you've got day two. That's the slow, painful slide into decline, bureaucracy, and a culture of just playing it safe. Really, it's the difference between being the one who disrupts the industry and being the one who gets disrupted. And the scary thing is, day two doesn't just show up one morning unannounced. No, it sneaks in quietly. It happens when you start falling in love with your process more than the actual outcome. It's when your calendar is filled with meetings about meetings instead of, actually inventing things. It's that moment when the fear of a new idea failing becomes way more powerful than the excitement of what it could become. All right, so how do you actually fight this thing? How do you keep day two at bay? Well, Bezos built this whole day one philosophy on a few key pillars. And we're going to start with the first one, which is arguably the most important of them all. It's the ultimate guide for every single decision. You have to be absolutely, relentlessly obsessed with your customers. And this is a really important distinction, okay? We're not just talking about having good customer service. This goes way deeper. It's a fundamental philosophy for how you create things. So instead of building something you think is cool and then trying to find someone to sell it to, you do the opposite. You start with a real customer need, a real problem they have, and then you work backwards from there, inventing whatever it takes to solve that problem for them. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that sounds like a bunch of modern corporate jargon, but it's not. This quote right here is from the very first shareholder letter all the way back in 1997. This idea of customer obsession has been the literal bedrock of their strategy from day one. I mean, from the absolute beginning. That proves it's not just some tactic they cooked up, it's a deep core value. All right, so if customer obsession is pillar one, what's pillar two? Well, this one is a direct attack on another one of those nasty hallmarks of day two, slowness. See, if bureaucracy and meetings are the enemy, then the antidote has to be speed. And this is key, we're not talking about being reckless here. It's all about having a clear, repeatable system for making decisions fast. And here is the core idea that unlocks it all. Bezos says that most organizations grind to a halt because they treat every single decision like it's permanent, like it's a one-way door that you can never come back through. But the reality is, the vast majority of decisions just aren't like that. They're two-way doors. You can walk through, take a look around, and if you don't like what you see, guess what? You can just turn around and walk right back out. So the framework for making these fast decisions is actually pretty simple. First up, you just classify the decision. Ask yourself, is this a reversible two-way door? If the answer is yes, then you don't need to analyze it to death. Step two, you act when you have about 70% of the information you wish you had. Because let's be honest, if you wait for 100% certainty, you'll be waiting forever. And finally, number three, you embrace the idea of disagree and commit. This one's huge. It means that even if you thought it was a bad idea, once the decision is made, everybody gets behind it 100%. No dragging your feet, no I told you so's later on. Okay, so our final pillar is really the one that ties the other two together and makes the whole thing work. To truly obsess over customers and to have the guts to make fast decisions, you have to be willing to play the long game. It's all about having the patience to plant seeds today for a forest that you know might not fully grow for years and years to come. And what do you know? We're right back at that 1997 shareholder letter again. From the very beginning, Bezos was sending a crystal clear message, especially to Wall Street. He was basically saying, look, we are not going to be slaves to what our profits look like every 3 months. We're going to make decisions that might look weird or even costly in the short term because our real goal is long-term market leadership. And that's a game changer.
And you don't have to look far to see the results of this thinking. Take Amazon Web Services, or AWS. That started out as just an internal tool, a really expensive side project that a lot of experts on Wall Street just didn't get. Or think about the Kindle. That was a bet that directly competed with their main business of selling physical books. But because they took that long-term view, both of them turned into these massive, industry-defining successes.
So, when you put all these pillars together, it becomes really clear that day one is so much more than just a business strategy for Amazon. It's a powerful mindset. It's a whole set of principles for fighting off that creep of complacency. And the cool thing is, you can apply it absolutely anywhere, from a giant corporation to a tiny startup, or heck, even to your own personal projects. So, this brings us to the part where you can actually put this to use. Think of this as your day one checklist. Just ask yourself a few simple questions. First, are you really starting with the customer in whatever you're doing? Second, are you making those two-way door decisions with speed and confidence? And finally, are you taking that long-term view, planting some seeds for the future, even if you won't see the results this quarter? And really, that's the whole challenge right there. Day one isn't some destination you arrive at. It's a choice you make every single day. It's about deciding consciously to invent, to challenge the way things are done, and to stay laser-focused on what really matters. So I'll leave you with this. What's your one thing? What is one move you could make today to make sure that for you and for your team, it always remains day one?